Before we look up at the night sky as empty space, imagine something far more strange, something fluid, dense, and alive with motion. A universe not built on silence and vacuum, but on an ancient cosmic liquid that once filled everything. In the earliest moments after the beginning of everything, the universe was not the calm, cold expanse we picture today. It was intensely hot, unimaginably dense, and so energetic that matter as we know it could not exist in stable form. Instead of stars, planets, or even atoms, there was a seething, flowing state, more like a cosmic fluid than empty space. Everything was connected, everything was moving, everything was in constant transformation. In that primordial era, particles did not behave like isolated objects drifting through emptiness. They interacted continuously, colliding, merging, and breaking apart in a dense, energetic soup. Space itself was not empty, it behaved like a medium, something that could ripple, vibrate, and carry waves of energy across unimaginable distances. The universe was less like a silent vacuum and more like an ocean without a shore. As time passed and the universe expanded, this cosmic fluid began to cool. The energy spread out, and the first stable particles formed. What was once an all-encompassing liquid state slowly separated into structure, like steam cooling into droplets of water. Atoms eventually emerged, then stars, then galaxies. The vast emptiness we see today is not the original condition of the universe. It is what remained after transformation. Even now, traces of that ancient liquid universe still echo through space. Light bends, gravity ripples, and space-time itself can stretch and vibrate like a fabric. Scientists describe these behaviors with concepts that sound surprisingly fluid: waves, fields, currents, and flows. It suggests that beneath the apparent emptiness, space still carries the memory of its fluid past. This idea reshapes how we think about existence itself. What we call nothing may actually be something deeply active and structured. The vacuum is not truly empty. It is a stage filled with invisible energy, constantly fluctuating, never truly still. In a sense, the universe never stopped flowing. It simply changed its form. So when we look up at the night sky, we are not gazing into a hollow void. We are looking into the cooled remains of an ancient cosmic ocean, one that once filled everything, and still in subtle ways continues to move beneath reality itself. The early universe was not empty space, but an extremely hot, dense, and fluid-like state where everything existed in a continuous cosmic soup. In the earliest stage of existence, the universe was not the vast, quiet emptiness we imagine when we look at the night sky. Instead, it was something far more intense and unimaginable, a hot, dense, and constantly shifting state where everything was intertwined in a cosmic fluid-like condition. There was no separation between matter and space as we understand it today. Everything was energy and motion, colliding, transforming, and flowing like a single boundless ocean of existence. In this extreme environment, particles could not hold stable forms, and even the idea of solid matter had no meaning. The universe was not built from objects scattered in space. It was a continuous field of activity, where energy behaved more like a liquid than empty void. As this primordial universe expanded, it did not immediately become the structured cosmos we know today. Instead, it slowly began to cool, allowing complexity to emerge. The once unified energetic state started to break into smaller, more stable components. What was once a seamless cosmic fluid began to form patterns, much like steam condensing into water droplets. In this transition, the first fundamental particles appeared, eventually combining to form atoms. Over immense stretches of time, these atoms gathered under the influence of gravity, forming stars, galaxies, and vast cosmic structures. What we now perceive as empty space is actually the outcome of this long transformation, where a once fluid universe stretched and thinned into vast regions of apparent emptiness. However, even in its current form, the universe still carries echoes of that ancient fluid state. Space is not truly silent or inactive. It is filled with invisible fields and energy fluctuations that constantly shift and interact. Light bends through gravity, waves travel through space-time, and the fabric of the universe itself can ripple like water disturbed by a stone. These behaviors suggest that beneath the surface of emptiness, the universe still behaves in ways reminiscent of a fluid system. The idea of absolute nothingness becomes less certain when we realize that even empty space is dynamic, active, and full of subtle energy. What we call the modern universe is therefore not a break from its past, but a continuation of it in a new form. The cosmic liquid of the beginning did not disappear, it transformed, and in that transformation lies the foundation of everything we see, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, all emerging from a universe that was once, in its most ancient state, not empty at all, but profoundly fluid. In this primordial state, particles did not exist as stable objects. Instead, energy and matter constantly interacted like a flowing liquid. As the universe continued its expansion from its earliest fluid-like state, it entered a long and gradual process of transformation that shaped everything we observe today. In those initial moments, nothing existed in isolation. Energy dominated all existence, forming a dense and unified cosmic medium where distinctions between space and matter had not yet formed. It was a reality where everything was interconnected, constantly in motion, and endlessly changing, much like a vast ocean without boundaries. Over time, however, this extreme environment began to cool and lose intensity, allowing the first signs of structure to emerge from the chaos. During this cooling phase, the universe transitioned from a single continuous energetic field into distinct particles. These particles were the building blocks of everything that would follow. But at first, they were unstable and constantly interacting. Gradually, as temperatures dropped further, they combined to form atoms, marking the beginning of physical matter as we understand it. This process was not sudden, but stretched over immense periods, during which gravity slowly gathered matter together, forming clouds of gas that eventually ignited into stars. These stars became the forges where heavier elements were created, laying the foundation for planets and, much later, life itself. Even though the universe now appears as vast empty space filled with isolated celestial objects, this emptiness is misleading. Space is not truly empty, but filled with invisible fields, energy fluctuations, and dynamic forces that continue to shape its behavior. Light bends as it travels, gravity stretches space-time, and particles briefly appear and disappear even in a vacuum. These phenomena reveal that the universe still retains a kind of underlying fluid nature, where everything is influenced by continuous interaction rather than complete separation. What we perceive today is the result of billions of years of expansion and cooling, but beneath that surface lies a deeper reality. The universe did not move from liquid to nothing, but from a dense, flowing state to a more structured and spacious one. In this sense, space was never truly empty. It is the evolved form of a once continuous cosmic ocean that still subtly flows within the fabric of reality itself. Space itself behaved more like a medium capable of carrying waves and vibrations, rather than a silent, empty vacuum. As the early universe evolved from its intensely energetic beginning, it did not suddenly become the calm, structured cosmos we observe today. Instead, it passed through a long and delicate transformation where the original fluid-like state gradually gave rise to order. In its earliest form, everything existed in a unified field of extreme energy. There were no stars, no atoms, and no true separation between matter and space. It was a continuous dynamic medium where energy moved and interacted in ways more similar to a liquid than to empty space. Every part of this early universe was tightly connected, and disturbances in one region influenced everything around it. With expansion, the universe began to cool, and this cooling was the turning point in cosmic history. As temperatures dropped, energy started to condense into more defined structures. The once smooth and uniform cosmic medium began to break apart into particles, marking the first step toward the formation of matter. These particles did not remain isolated for long. They constantly interacted, merged, and separated in a constantly evolving environment. Over time, they formed stable atoms, allowing the universe to develop complexity for the first time. This shift from pure energy to structured matter was slow but fundamental, setting the stage for everything that followed. As matter accumulated, gravity played a crucial role in shaping the universe. It pulled gas and dust together, forming the first stars. Inside these stars, nuclear reactions forged new elements, enriching the cosmos and enabling the formation of planets and other celestial bodies. What once was a uniform energetic field gradually transformed into a vast, structured universe filled with galaxies, stars, and planetary systems. Yet despite this dramatic evolution, the underlying behavior of the universe still carries traces of its original fluid nature. Even today, space is not truly empty. It is filled with invisible energy fields and subtle fluctuations that reveal constant activity beneath the surface. Light bends as it moves through space-time, gravitational waves ripple across the universe, and particles can briefly appear and vanish even in a vacuum. These phenomena suggest that space still behaves like a dynamic medium rather than a static void. The universe, in its essence, has never lost its sense of motion and interaction. It has simply changed form. Thus, what appears to be empty space is actually the evolved state of a once flowing cosmic ocean. The structure of the modern universe is built upon this ancient foundation, and every star, galaxy, and particle is a reminder that existence itself began not in emptiness, but in a profound fluid state of continuous transformation. As the universe expanded and cooled, this cosmic fluid gradually transformed into stable particles, atoms, stars, and galaxies. In the earliest epoch of the universe, reality did not resemble the quiet emptiness we imagine when we think of space today. Instead, it existed in a profoundly energetic and fluid-like condition where everything was interconnected. There were no separate objects drifting in a void. Instead, the entire cosmos behaved like a single, continuous medium filled with intense energy. In this state, space itself was not empty but active, dynamic, and constantly shifting. Particles as we know them could not exist in stable forms because the environment was far too hot and dense. Everything was in motion, merging and separating in an endless cycle of transformation. As expansion continued, the universe began to cool, and this cooling allowed the first meaningful structures to emerge. Energy, once completely unified, started to condense into elementary particles. These particles formed the foundation of all future matter, but in their early stages they were unstable and constantly interacting. The universe at this point still resembled a fluid system where everything influenced everything else through continuous exchange and movement. Over time, these particles combined to form atoms, marking a critical step in the transition from pure energy to physical matter. This process unfolded slowly, shaping the basic building blocks of the universe. With the formation of atoms, gravity became a dominant force in shaping cosmic structure. It pulled matter together into increasingly dense regions, eventually leading to the birth of stars and galaxies. Inside stars, nuclear processes created heavier elements, enriching the universe and setting the stage for planets and complex systems. What was once a uniform energetic field gradually transformed into a vast, structured cosmos filled with diversity and complexity. Yet this transformation did not erase its origins, it only restructured them. Even in its present form, the universe retains signs of its fluid-like beginnings. Space is not truly empty but filled with invisible fields and constant fluctuations of energy. Light bends as it travels through gravitational fields, and spacetime itself can ripple like waves across a vast cosmic surface. These behaviors suggest that beneath the appearance of emptiness, the universe still operates with a kind of underlying fluid dynamics. Therefore, the idea of empty space is misleading. What we observe today is not a true void, but the evolved stage of a once continuous cosmic ocean. The universe did not move from existence to emptiness. It moved from a dense, flowing state into a structured yet still dynamic reality. Every part of the cosmos carries the memory of that original fluid condition, silently shaping the fabric of everything that exists. Even today, modern physics suggests that space is not truly empty. Fields, energy fluctuations, and space-time behavior still reflect its ancient fluid-like nature. In the modern understanding of the universe, what appears to be empty space is far more active and complex than it seems. Even though we often imagine space as a vast, silent void separating stars and galaxies, scientific insight suggests that this emptiness is filled with invisible structures and continuous activity. At its deepest level, space is not truly empty but is permeated by fields, energy fluctuations, and subtle interactions that never fully cease. This means that even in regions far away from stars or galaxies, the universe is still alive with motion and change, just in ways that are not immediately visible to the human eye. One of the most important ideas supporting this view is that space itself can behave like a dynamic medium. Light does not simply travel through nothingness. It moves through space-time, which can bend, stretch, and ripple under the influence of mass and energy. This bending of space-time is what we experience as gravity. Similarly, gravitational waves, tiny disturbances in space-time, travel across the universe like ripples on the surface of a vast, invisible ocean. These phenomena reveal that space is not static but responsive, constantly shaped by the events occurring within it. Even at the smallest scales, the so-called vacuum of space is far from calm. Quantum physics shows that particles can momentarily appear and disappear due to fluctuations in underlying energy fields. This suggests that even nothingness has structure and activity at a fundamental level. These fluctuations are not random noise, but part of the underlying fabric that governs how the universe behaves. When we connect these ideas back to the early universe, a deeper picture begins to form. The universe did not begin as empty space that later filled with matter. Instead, it started as a dense, energetic, and fluid-like state where everything was already active and interconnected. As it expanded and cooled, this fluid transformed into the structured cosmos we see today. Yet the essence of that original state was never fully lost. In this sense, modern space is not a true void, but a transformed continuation of a primordial cosmic medium. The stars, galaxies, and vast cosmic distances all exist within a system that still carries the imprint of its fluid origins. What we call emptiness is, in reality, a highly dynamic stage of the universe, one that continues to evolve, ripple, and respond, just like the cosmic ocean from which everything first emerged.